Hello and welcome to another AIC video. As usual, life has gotten in the way of me doing anything productive, including the thunderstorm over my head that I don't know if you can hear in the background, but I've lost power a couple of times this week already. So I've had these machines here that we're going to be talking about tonight for several weeks now, and I'm just now getting around to actually doing a video about them. I picked these up for a project I'm going to be doing. I'll talk about that at the end and see if you guys have any interest in that. But I wanted to kind of put them through their paces before I actually put anything important on them. So I've been using them to render video. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. And yeah, I've really liked them so far. So first things first, let's talk about specs. So first and foremost, these are HP Prodesk Minis. You can see here. Focus, you fuck. Alright. And they're G2s. That means they have a 6th gen Core i5 processor. It's a 6600T. The T means it's a 35 watt variant. They originally came with 8 gigs of RAM and a 128 gig SSD from the refurbisher that I bought these from. I bought them on eBay. I'll put a link to them down in the description. And I have them kind of set up differently. So this one's just unplugged sitting here. That one's running a benchmark. We'll look at those here in a minute. And this one, we'll look at the hardware here. I paid $185 for them. The seller I bought them from has them for $190. But if you buy more than one, he drops the price depending on how many you buy. I'll put a link to them, like I said, in the description. And the only real complaint I had about them when I bought them is they were disgusting. They were caked full of dust on the inside, and I did have to open them up and clean out the fans, clean out the heatsink. Just really gross. So it would have been nice to have them cleaner when I got them, but other than that, happy with them. One of them did have a bad fan, and the seller sent me a replacement, like got it to me within a couple of days. As I mentioned, the CPU is just 35 watts. It is pretty low on the power scale, but it is socketed, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute, which means you can replace it. There's a 35 watt Core i7, the 6700T, but from reading online, it's anywhere from like 3 to 10% faster depending on the workload. It is 4-core 8-thread. This is just a 4-core 4-thread processor. The i5 is the 4-core 4-thread. The i7 is a 4-core 8-thread. But it goes for $150 by itself. I found a few of these on eBay for around that $250 mark that had that Core i7 in them. So if you needed the i7, I'd just buy the i7 variant of it. You'll spend a little bit more money, but you won't spend it even more later. There is a 65 watt and a 91 watt part, the 6700 and the 6700K. I don't know if I would try to put either of those in this system. The heatsink just isn't enough, I don't think, to keep the 65 watt, and definitely not for the 91 watt. That'd be ridiculous. You just have it just thermal throttle immediately if you even looked at it sideways. But it does handle the 35 watt just fine. It never got hot. So what I was doing with these is I recently got a 4K television, and all of the videos I've ripped previously, I ripped at a lower quality. And so I went through and grabbed all my Blu-rays and stuff and re-ripped them to the computer at a much higher quality so they don't look like crap on my 4K screen. Because I do everything from a media drive, so that way I'm not having to swap in and out discs. And the socket is a socket 1151, which is the same as a KB Lake. So this is a Skylake, and it's the same as a KB Lake, and it seems like it could possibly be compatible if the BIOS supports it. I don't know. If somebody has a 7600T and wants to send it my way, or a 7700T wants to send it my way to test, happy to do that. I'll send it right back to you. But message me for my, I have a P.O. box. Anyways, so a couple things. They are pretty quiet. So this is running benchmarks right now, and it's quieter than my lights. Like, it's super quiet. It's making hardly any noise, and it's pushing it as hard as it can through those 3D benchmarks here. They are, like I said, just a 4-core, 4-thread processor, which is better than previous versions of an i5, which were 2-core, 4-thread. Having 4 real cores is definitely better than just 2 cores with hyper-threading. But my Ryzen 2600X, which is, I believe, a 65-watt CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads, just crushed these. I mean, it wasn't even a comparison. These were about a third the speed, if not slower, than my 2600X. So they're definitely not a replacement for a much higher end CPU for sure. But the first thing I did with them, that I do with everything I buy, is open it up and take a look at them. And that's why this one's open. I want to show you the insides of it. First things first, the fan, like I said, these were really gross when I got it. And you can see here, the fan is pretty easy to clean and replace under there. That's where your memory is. Oh, sorry. For upgrades, the fan just pops out like that. CPU, you can see there, is socketed. You see the little lever to be able to remove it. So you can upgrade it. But there's only, like I said, one option that I know would work. That's the 6700T. And I just can't find one cheap enough to justify that increase in cost. This is where your 2.5-inch drive goes here. And you lift this up, it actually has an M.2 slot. From reading online, this is NVMe compatible. So it should be able to be upgraded to an NVMe. So if you wanted to have 2 drives in this and have one be your super fast NVMe, and then much larger storage drive, either like a couple terabyte hard drive or a terabyte SSD or something, you can do that for sure. So this does support up to 32 gigs per slot on the memory, so you can have 64 gigs total in here. This is DDR4. I don't think it matters really what speed you get with the DDR4. It's such a slow CPU, I don't think you'll get much of a performance improvement, especially with it being an Intel drive. Now, one thing with this is it has a ton of ports. I was actually very impressed with just how many ports this thing has. Thunder is going crazy right now. You have your headphone microphone, focus your back. You have USB Type-C. It is not Thunderbolt. I'm going to have to play around with that to see if it does power delivery. From what I've read online, it either does or doesn't. It depends on how it's equipped. I just couldn't find enough information based off the serial number on this. You have 2 more USB Type-A that are USB 3.0, I believe. You have your DisplayPort VGA serial. Talk about that here in a second. 4 more USB and Thunderbolt, and of course power. So these do not have wireless. You can buy them with wireless. There's a place to add a wireless card on there, but because they don't have wireless, I think the antennas might come out there for the antennas. Not 100% sure if they had external antennas if you have Wi-Fi, but I didn't get that variant because I want them to be connected through Ethernet anyways. That's why I'm going to be setting it up. If you have an older machine that requires a serial connection, like a CNC machine, or I don't even know what, some imaging equipment, maybe, I don't know. I have some old Palm Pilots that still use serial ports, so this actually makes me pretty happy. If you are needing to connect a newer computer to some legacy hardware, you can do that through this. Throw up something to emulate Windows XP on here, and be able to connect through it and run your old software, run your old cables. That's excellent. I had a tuner for one of my previous cars, and it was a serial connection as well. So I have USB adapters, but they're never as good and never have as strong of connection. Alright, so we're just about done with the performance test, so let's take a look at the software side of things. Alright, so we finished up the performance test. I'll throw these numbers onto my big spreadsheet that I have on Google Drive of all the machines I've tested, or the vast majority of the machines I've tested, just so you can see what we have going on there. Let's go ahead and look at our specs here. So we're running a Intel Core i5 6600T. I did go ahead and upgrade these to 16 gigs of RAM. They originally, like I said, had 8. So we have an Intel HD Graphics 5300, and these are using pretty quick Samsung SSDs. That's what it came with. All three of them are using the same one. So what I was going to be using these for is for a ESXi cluster. So I'm going to be doing some containerization at work. I wanted to play around with it at home before I was doing anything at work. So I have some USB drives to throw on there for the ESXi install, and I have some, I just got a little bit bigger 256 gig silicon power SSDs. These are DRAM-less, so they're not the fastest in the world, but I wanted more than 128 gigs, plus I want to preserve the OS install on these. So I'm going to label each drive, put them into my storage, and keep them as is for a while. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to rearrange things just a little bit. Come back, we'll go play some games on here, see if games play at all. Alright, as usual, we will go ahead and play some Roblox. This is one that my kids have gotten into big time recently. And one thing you'll hear on here is the little machine actually has an internal speaker, kind of like a laptop speaker. It's not great, but as far as something like this, this is pretty darn good. I think it's some of the best I've had on a inexpensive machine like this. Alright, we'll get out of here and see if we can't steal a car. Sounds like somebody did. Oh yeah. That is pretty good. Alright, that's probably good enough. Let's go ahead and load the next game. Go ahead and launch Minecraft here. Now I haven't actually played Minecraft on this yet, so we'll see how well it loads. And we are playing at 1920 by 1080. That's the resolution of this monitor. Alright, that loaded really quick. We do two things here real quick. Options, controls, mouse settings, invert mouse. Otherwise, we'll drop this down just to 9 chunks. Oh, and sync off. Alright, and we're getting 55, 58, 57 frames per second. So, of all the sub $200 systems I've bought in a while, this by far has some of the best performance. Now, it is one of the faster machines I've bought, for sure. So, you know, it's just newer in general. Being a 6th gen, most of the stuff I'm buying is a Celeron or Celeron equivalent with the AMD Athlon line. But we are doing 79, 80 frames a second, 98 frames a second there. So that is pretty darn good. Pretty happy with that. Now, one thing I would definitely recommend doing if you get one of these is upgrade your RAM to at least 16 gigs. Don't stick with just the 8 gigs of RAM. That really is a minimum. And RAM's a little expensive right now as I'm recording this video, but I think it's worth the upgrade. If you buy like 2 of these, just buy like a 2 gig kit or a 2 DIMM kit, and then put 2 in the one, and then move the 1 DIMM back over to the first one and do the second one, whatever, and that way you can have 2 machines with matching if you're buying 2, or that's what I did. I had an 8 gig and I bought 2 more 8 gig DIMMs, put the 2 into one of them, took the one out of the one that I upgraded and put it into a second one, and the third one I just upgraded with what I already had. And that's what we're playing on right now. Alright, that is probably good enough. Alright, the next thing we'll do is play Fallout, guys. Or Fall Guys, not Fall Guys. Sorry, Fall Guys. And I have not played this in months, because every time I go to play, one of my kids is playing. So they have the family account, and you can only play on that same machine. So you'll have to forgive me. Normally I play with a controller. I'm not using a controller right now. I didn't change anything on the graphics, so we may have to do that, but let's see how we do. That little speaker on the front of these is hilarious to me. Like, it's there, it's making noise, but it's not a good noise. Turn that volume down just a little bit. When I'm using my Lenovo ThinkPad keyboard, love this thing. It's one of my favorite accessories whenever I'm not working on my main computer. I'm having to work on one. It's so small, compact, and normally I don't have a mouse installed. I just use the track point on the keyboard. Ooh, I have not played this at all, so this is all completely new. So if I suck, that's why. But we're just really getting this for the experience, so we're not going to... Oh shoot, I didn't invert my mouse. Oh, how do I... Just have to run. Okay. Everything's moving. So, I'm not going to pass this, obviously, but I don't think my failure is on the part of the computer, but on my sheer lack of ability to play this level. And I need a controller. My view's all screwed up. I can't see nothing. No idea which way I'm going. Alright. Oh, I can't even get close. I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to leave the show. That was very playable. That was very good. Very impressed with that. We're going to go ahead and exit, and we're going to ahead and try one more game. But I don't think that this is going to be very successful. We're going to try loading Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm super into this right now. I just got it a few weeks ago, a month ago. And I don't get to play a lot, so I'm not very far into it. But I've been enjoying it. Get to play a couple hours a week, if that. Maybe an hour a week. So, if you'd like to see me stream and fail while I'm streaming it, you can do that. Let's go to options, graphics, lowest, off. Trilinear, okay. Let's turn off some of that stuff. See how it does. Oh, this is not gonna be good. Oh, it's not gonna be good. Oh, I'm gonna die right away, so I'm not too. Oh, I don't know what buttons I'm pushing because yeah. All right, that's good enough. That's no, you know. So, yeah, we're gonna quit. Yes, we're gonna quit. Alright, so summary of these HP ProBooks. If you are looking for a small compact computer, first of all, you should be looking for one. These make great machines for things like a home theater PC. You know, if you don't have a smart TV or you want to do a little bit more than just like whatever your smart TV can do, these hook up, can play 4K video just fine. I have one of these hooked up with a little Blu-ray drive. I play Blu-ray movies, watch stuff that I've ripped to the computer I have on it for my kids to watch. They're small, they're light, they use almost no power, they're quiet, they're great for that. They're really an excellent machine. They are inexpensive, have lots of upgrade options, way more than you would get with like a laptop for a similar price. And they're just a great option. And if you're interested in seeing me try to set these up with ESXi, set them up as a home lab, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see in doing that. Going to be setting them up with ESXi 7, vCenter 7, get some Kubernetes on. So yeah, that is that. So yeah, for the price, definitely worth something. If you're looking for a kid's computer, an excellent option for a kid's computer. You can get mounts for these that they then, you can even see the screws here, screw holes here, connect to a VESA mount onto the back of your monitor. So you can almost do like an all-in-one kind of deal with one of these, but have something that's either upgradable or replaceable later. You can pick any monitor you want. So if you have a bigger monitor or specialty monitor, you can do that as long as it has a VESA mount. So yeah, these are just really cool, and an amazing deal, bargain for what they are. I've been using these for forever. I've had a few of the Lenovo Tinies, ThinkCenter Tinies. I didn't buy them this time because they were way more money. They were almost twice as much money for the same specs. So that's why I didn't go with them this time. I want to try out HP. HP is a brand I really like. As well as Lenovo, both great companies with great products. Dell offers these as well, but if I can avoid it, I try not to support Dell in any way, shape, or form. So, anyways, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. I will do my best to answer. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.